Here is Zirconia, and Zirconia is having just her second post-track ride today. She had her first one day the end of last week, and we did get video of that. And I know I've said this a million times, but for me, first post-track rides are really just a meet and greet to kind of get a feel for the horse and what they know and what they don't know and what they like and all that kind of good stuff. And I'll make some gentle suggestions. And of course, there's some hard lines that I need them to know and respect, but for the most part, I'm not looking to, upend anyone's world on a first post-track ride. And so Zirconia here she's a 16-hand, 6-year-old thoroughbred mare by Silver State, which is a hard spun line. She had 6 career starts. She never hit the board, so it makes perfect sense that she's here and not going to be a racehorse anymore. Her last start was on 7/22, so about a month ago. And she's been hanging out in a field at my friend Jody's place for the last couple of weeks, waiting for her spot to open up here. And now she's here. She's having her second post-track ride. And on her first, she was a very good baby 3-year-old. She didn't do anything wrong, but exceedingly green, green to steering and very green to the contact. She just felt like she had no clue, like no one had ever touched her mouth. So all I've done between that ride and this ride is one session the other day in Vienna Reins, and she actually did really well, and I thought figured it out quite quickly. So I changed a couple of things for this ride today. I didn't want the running. It was clear that I didn't need that. She wasn't doing anything that would warrant needing a running. And I had her in a titanium egg butt snaffle for the first post-track ride, and I switched her for this ride into the Herm Springer Duo D-ring, which is just a soft rubber straight bar. And my goodness, she is getting it. I mean, this mare makes a really cute little shape. And I don't expect perfection. I'm just asking her to engage in the conversation with me. But she really gets these moments or these little lengths of a couple of steps at a time where she really sort of comes together and shows you a glimmer of what will be there in the future. Like actually right about here, I love the shape she's making there. Maybe she's a little bit too tucked behind her nose. But she certainly gives me lots of moments where, the pole's up, the nose is just touched out a little bit, and it really looks adorable. Like right here, actually, I love this. What a great frame she makes. So yeah, super green to the contact, but wow, she has learned a lot just from one ride to the next. So I'm quite happy with that. And she's working on just the most simple, basic things you could possibly be asking a 3-year-old to work on. She is working on steering. She's working on bending in both directions. You see me doing a lot of circles because I'm trying to help her understand this notion of, sort of wrapping herself around my inside leg, flexing that rib cage a little bit. And in moments like right here, really lovely, she gets it. She kind of lets me in a little bit with the bend, and then everything clicks together with the contact. It's really quite nice. She actually is holding this really well for at least like a half the circle. That's really good right there. So bending, steering, contact, and just basic balance is what she's working on. So the most ordinary things. But yeah, when she's got it, it's really a pleasant sight to look at. And she doesn't have any negative things. There's nothing going on here that is silly or concerning, no negative behaviors. This mare is on the market for an absolute steal at $2,000 because she has an osselet on her right front. And obviously she's very sound. It's not bothering her at all. She will go on to a mid-level career with no issue. The vet who looked at it said she's actually not limited at all. That being said, I don't think that with an osselet like that, she should be going into some sort of upper level track. I just don't think that makes sense. She should be a little bit protected, but for sure, some sort of mid-level career, definitely a lower level career, no doubt. She is exceedingly sound, and she is, I don't think, limited by the osselet. That being said, I don't want any requests from people asking me if I think she wants to be an intermediate horse or jump a meter 20 or a meter 30. Like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. But, about a meter and below, absolutely, she will be just fine and have a super long career doing that. So back to this ride. I thought her canter work was so hugely improved. I actually thought everything was unbelievably improved from the first ride to this ride. The canter especially was so much more balanced today than it was on the first ride, and that's just because she's starting to understand the bend and the contact, and of course that helps a lot with the quality of the canter. She actually did a pretty darn good transition right here into that right canter. To the left, so for her, her right canter comes more easily right now, and she wants to step into the right canter. It's totally normal for them to have a lead that they prefer over the other, especially when they're right off the track or so young. For her left, she's picking up the right and then doing a quick swap. And I'm not asking her to do that, actually. I'm asking her just to try and step into the left, but she's very good at it. And we are nowhere near being ready to be worried about that. Not that I mean it's worrying. It's not worrying. We are just not yet ready to have that conversation. I actually really couldn't care less what lead she's on right now. She needs to think about her balance, her bending, and her connection. And as she gets those things, getting the correct lead will just naturally sort itself out. So this balance here in her left canter, we could not achieve this on the first post-track ride, so this made me really happy. I always have to remind myself on that first ride, especially the 3-year-olds, they're so young and green. I'm sure they're so nervous, even if they're not outwardly showing me or doing mannerisms that say that they're nervous. I'm sure that they're all nervous. So by the second ride, most of them, like her, for example, have really taken a huge breath and realized like there's nothing that big, bad, and scary going on here. So here you can see she's leaning a little bit on my left leg. So I'm just trying to correct that bend. And then there we go. That's much better. Yeah, so she was great. She definitely gets the most improved from one ride to the next award for the last little while here. That was very good. She's very sweet on the ground. She's really a cute, cute little mare. I mean, she's got this beautiful face and a big, kind eye. Everybody at my friend Jody's place loved me, loved her, and told me she was a super sweetheart. And yeah, she's doing really well.